Hello, everyone. I'm Dara Bunjon. I am the food enthusiast here at J Moore Living. And if this is your first time tuning in, I am a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. What I like to remind people to do is to check out our archives for previous shows. Take us for your walks, your runs, your drives, going to the ocean hunt, pop on a show. Today's guest is Candy Schibli, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. I didn't ask her ahead of time. She is the owner and head roaster of Southeastern Roastery, and let's welcome her in. Hi, Candy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing just
Glad to
fine.
Be on your show.
Well, I'm happy to have you. You came highly recommended from a number of people, so I think people are tuning in to learn more about coffee, but I think they're going to learn a lot more about you. What's in your cup today?
I'm drinking right now a Sumatra iced coffee. I added a little bit of caramel to it just to give my sense. I usually drink it black, but I've had the black coffees already today. So this is my slide into the afternoon.
Well, Candy, you have many degrees, so let me read this off. You have MA in International Affairs, an MA in Natural Resources, Sustainability Development, Florida A&M, your BS in Chemical Engineering, and Georgetown University an MBA certification. When was that black and white moment, that Wizard of Oz moment when black and white turned to color and you went, I'm going in coffee? Why coffee? Fill us in.
Yeah. It was after graduate school for sure, when I was working as a consultant for US government. And I decided to go into coffee when I was working in the area of microenterprise and microfinance. After having worked in that for a while, and the engineering kind of transitioned over into more of an impact with more a direct link to farmers, to people in the agricultural industry, to trade. And I wanted to do that in an area that was global, that was globally represented, that was globally traded, distributed. And so I just coffee. I like coffee a lot. And I wanted to get into something that also put me kind of more in touch with what I was familiar with growing up, which was, gardening and agriculture. So.
Well, that's a lot. Let me ask you this question. Well, not that you're going to say no, don't ask me. What is the most asked question about coffee? What have you found now that you're a head roaster and all knowing about coffee? What question is the most asked question?
Wow, that is actually a good question. I think a common question that I get is around decaffeinated coffee. And how do I decaffeinate coffee as a coffee roaster? Well, I don't. So I have to explain to people that decaffeinated coffee happens at the processing level, and that as a roaster, I merely get the bean already caffeinated and roast it. So it's one common question. Another common question is the difference between the different strains of coffee. People don't know that there is a Robusta versus Arabica coffee. And want to understand the difference between the two and what makes a coffee a specialty coffee. And so, yeah, I get a lot of those questions as well. I also get, what do you recommend to drink?
Well, let me tell people right off the bat that Coffee Curious People that you run at your location in Baltimore, a shop that you can go in and get the coffee, you can get some pastry, you can get sandwiches, but that isn't that's a small part of what you do. A lot of what you do is selling to wholesale, to restaurants and people to use your coffee beans, retail on the website, and then of course coffee themselves. But mainly you're getting in the raw beans from all over the world. Is there one that you find that you particularly like better than the other, just as a personal taste?
Yes. I will say this loud and proud over and over again. I love Southeastern coffees. I love the kind of mossiness, the diversity, the density of the beans of the coffee. They just offer, the beans tend to be a juicier bean that offers a very array of flavors that really comes out once the bean is roasted. And so, yeah, those are my favorites, particularly the Indonesian beans. I like the Sumatra. We have a nice Sumatra right now from Mendeling. The Javanese coffees are really nice as well. Flores coffee, I think, very beautiful. And they're also quite delicate. There's a Vietnamese coffee that we roasted that it cupped more like a tea, in that it gave flavors of jasmine and orchid, and it was a very just smooth coffee. So the Southeast Asian coffees tend to be my favorite coffees. And that's just because my palate leans more toward more toward sour coffees. So everyone's palate's different. Doesn't mean one palate's more favorable than the other. It's really up to the individual.
Right. Well, I advised you and tell the people that I don't drink coffee. I've maybe had 2 cups in my lifetime and 1 in college. I put enough cream and sugar in there that you couldn't even determine there was coffee left. But I pick up bitter more. So coffee, that's why coffee is off the charts for me. Red wine, I can't do those. A point I want to bring out is like the cacao bean, coffee grows in the same area, and where something grows, it picks up those flavors. So pepper grows, berries grow, bananas grow, and you get those kind of back notes. You do coffee labs, coffee classes. Now you just finished one. I'm going to take the note off the computer. Let's see, I can see it. You just did coffee as a summer mixer. Your next class is cold brew coffee at home. Now, is this is an online class, or do they come in? Tell me a little bit more about these classes.
Sure. So these are in-person classes, and we designed these pre-Delta, post-COVID-19. So, but they are small classes. They are socially distanced. We have people come in, and we walk them through the different coffees, different methodologies. The next class is cold brew at home. So we'll go through the suggestion types of coffee to use for cold brew at home. We'll go through the suggested grind size, the suggested brew time, and everyone in the class is going to be able to create that here lab, and so they have something to take that's hands-on. Our previous class was coffee as a summer mixer.
Okay. Well, the cold brew,
that was quite interesting. We mixed coffee with different flavors, spices, alcohol, things like that. So
Right. I saw that you
All
did
of
a summer cold
them
press.
are.
It was a chocolate lemon ale brew. And I want to tell people we're having a delay. So if you see Candy just sitting there for a little
Yeah.
while,
So
there's a slight delay today.
yeah. Let's talk a bit about the chocolate lemon ale. That is a new canned coffee that we have out. That's part of our cold brew flavored cold brew series. We also have a chocolate brown sugar cold brew, and are working on various flavors to come on in the fall and indoor as well. So we use the lab as explore different, not only different ways of brewing and serving coffee, but also various ways in preparing coffee and kind of bringing out other flavors from the coffee other than the cacao and chocolates, using different herbs and spices to highlight those.
Okay. So some of the other classes I'm going to run through real quickly, so let me just list them off. Introduction to coffee cupping. Maybe you can tell me, since I'm a non-coffee drinker, what cupping is. Lattes at home. Exploring the French press, and I have a question about that. Vegan baking and coffee roasting demo. So let's talk, what is coffee cupping? I don't know if she got the last question. It was too long. Let's see. What is coffee cupping?
I didn't get the last part. I'm sorry.
What is coffee cupping? You have a class in coffee cupping.
Coffee cupping. Okay. Yes. So coffee cupping is a procedure that's done in the professional roasting realm by growers and roasters, and it's used to identify different characteristics and flavors of a coffee, and you can use that to determine whether we want to purchase a coffee or not. If we to determine the quality of a coffee, there's a scoring sheet that we have with that as well, and it's usually done by a number of people over a number of coffees, and it's a way of evaluating coffee at a very basic level. The difference in this procedure versus just tasting coffee that's been roasted is that the coffee cupping roasting style is very light, and so that's done to really highlight the acids that are in the coffee as well. So you're taking a coffee at its kind of purest, most raw level and tasting it and evaluating it on sweetness, on body, on balance, on acidity. Yeah.
Okay. You have talked about coffee refining our senses. What do you mean, and how can we achieve it?
Sure. So I kind of set up the company around mindfulness. That's something that I'm very interested in, and I practice. And so I see coffee tasting, coffee drinking, and just the attention that's paid to that as a conduit toward more of a recognition of the sense, particularly the sense of taste as well as the sense of smell. You can even say the sense of hearing if you're from a roasting perspective. And in doing it's a process of honing in on how you feel, how something makes you feel from the inside in. And you can use that and translate it into other aspects of life. To just kind of slow down and listen more, to taste it more, and to hear it more, to get them throughout life. So
I had somebody bring up a question about a grind for a French press versus drip. Is the grind different?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it should be. The grind for a French press is going to be more coarse than for drip. I would say a drip is more like a beachy sand, whereas a grind for a French press is going to be a bit more. It's going to have a bit more surface area.
Okay, I got it. Well, I'm thinking, it's like how you adjust grinding black pepper, and you can have a coarse, which gives you more surface. And I guess, is it when you grind it as fine, like garlic, the finer you grind it, the stronger the flavor?
Yeah, I mean, the more extraction that you're going to get the coffee. And so, for example, grinding for espresso and having that like high pressure water come through, you're really going to get a full bodied extraction. Those tend to be a bit more sour, very thick.
What don't we know?
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay. What don't we know about coffee that we should?
I would say that it is a very it's very delicate as a commodity. It's highly impacted by change in temperature. It's prone to disease like any plant, and it's really being impacted by climate change, and will continue to be impacted by climate change, increases in temperature, and for that reason you may see a shift in the types of coffee that's being offered. Robusta may prevalent increase. It's more disease resistant.
We sort of lost that sort of broke up. It might be coming clear for anybody else, but for me. But the impact of climate change and the pandemic will definitely be affecting, number one, flavor, how it comes through, but also pricing. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Off the subject of coffee, what is the best or worst piece of advice you've ever received, or both?
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Best piece of advice or worst piece of advice I've ever received. I would say the best piece of advice is to that I've gotten has been to ignore the naysayers. There are a lot, but I think the worst piece of advice is to take calculated risks. I don't think any of this can be fully calculated.
Well, if you can't think of that offhand, not to worry.
Go and I feel like it's just through to succeed.
You, as a specialty coffee roaster, you're promoting cultural exchange and open dialogue. and you want to collect with creativity, what are you doing? You're here in Baltimore, but obviously people watch the show all over. What are you doing on a local level to open dialogue and creative exchange?
So classes, we're hoping people from different backgrounds, different parts of the community come together into these classes and can talk. We also work with different organizations. For example, we've done some work with the American Society on Aging, trying to kind of understand where people are in kind of their way of thinking towards aging in different parts of their life. We're really just trying to work with as many diverse areas of the community as possible. For example, we're putting on a concert series with the Canton Kayak Club here in Baltimore to help kind of diversify some of the music offerings that are out to the community through that organization here at Tide Point. So Arrow, who is a musician from the band Gangster Grass, definitely check him out.
Well, we're having such technical difficulty here. Let me see. Let's wrap up with and tell people, first of all, it is Southeastern Roastery.com, and you can find Candy's coffee beans there. There's hats, stuff that you can wear. You have there. You can find record of all her classes, and so that is floating up on the website and Facebook page, so you can find all her contact information there. And she is on Instagram and she is on Facebook, so all that is up there.
And Instagram as well. We're at Southeastern Roastery.
Right. Roasting coffee, you get the raw beans. The process is what? You get rid of, it's 3 stages. What are the 3 stages? Am I making sense, hopefully?
So I work with importers to get the beans. For example, one of the importers I work with is Umuko Coffee, that's here out of Baltimore, Maryland. They source from Rwanda from a women's cooperative. So they bring in those beans. I purchase them from them. And once I get them here, I generally will do a sample roast on them to see whether I want to do a light roast, a medium roast, or a roast. Once I decide on that roasting profile, I'll create a profile and then put it in the roaster profile, and that's the roasting process. I'm simplifying it quite a bit. The coming up with the profiles and the roasting profiles does take a bit of time. We've got some software that we use, so yeah.
Okay. What is your most epic culinary fail? I know. Okay. What is your most epic culinary fail? I know that you like to cook.
So I tried to do an espresso Jello shot. So a Jello shot with using espresso as a gelatin, and then with an almond paste as a gelatin. And I've gotten some almond paste from a store and couldn't read the packaging, and it didn't quite work out so well. It tasted horrible. I wanted the Jello shot to taste like in this, so it tasted more. It didn't taste like anything. That was the problem. It didn't taste like anything.
Oh, okay. And my final question, what didn't I ask you that I should have?
Ooh. What? Hello?
I'm still here. I don't know. Did we lose you, Candy, or are you still here? Well, I think.
I don't know. I see you.
Well, I'm going to say. What days are you open?
Okay. Yeah, so Thursday to Monday, 7 a.m. to 2
On Ford Avenue here in Baltimore. Candy, I want to thank you so much. I'm sorry the technology has failed us today.
Folks can come by and check us out.
Missed that. So I'm going to thank you, everybody. Candy Schibli, Southeastern Roastery here in Baltimore and Ford Avenue. We thank you. Continued success. And I am going to let people know that we have, today is National Oyster Day. And if anybody wants to shuck me about 2 dozen oysters, I am right there. Love the oysters in the half shell. Love it. So if you're an oyster lover, go out, find the specials today, and enjoy the oysters. I always like to know, let you know who the next guest is going to be. And next week, Emmy Award-winning chef Christina Pirello from PBS, and she is a chef that cooks with whole foods, not food from Whole Foods, but whole foods. And her site is ChristinaCooks.com. She has 260 episodes up. I think she's just finished filming a whole new series. So next week is Christina Pirello. As always, I appreciate you tuning into the show, sharing it with your friends, and digging into the archives and taking it with you on your runs, your walks, and drives. So if you need to reach me, at Dara Cooks is my social. My email is food@jmoreliving. This will be up on J More Living's Facebook page immediately, and very soon after up on YouTube on the jmoreliving.com page. We thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. May your plates always remain full. Thank you.